Good morning. Welcome to Successfully Selling HUD Homes. We have a couple of HUD agents here. I have Kathy with us. She sells HUD in Port Charlotte area. Hi, Kathy.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. I may have another HUD agent joining us. I invited her. She's more in the Orlando area. So we've all been selling HUD for many, many years. We've gone through lots of fun stuff with it. And this is kind of like a class for successfully selling HUD homes. It gives you slides and lots of info. We're going to do screen share. I'm going to show you the websites. It's going to be lots and lots of info. I am recording. This should be recording to my desktop. Hopefully I'll be able to save this for whoever else wants to see it. So welcome everyone. Welcome Drake, Celeste, I see Kelly. Basically, Successfully Selling HUD Homes was a class created by Sage Acquisitions, who is the asset manager over our Florida region. And it is all about things you need to know to have a successful sale with HUD houses. Okay. Welcome slide. It just kind of lets you know that the asset manager Sage Acquisition was contracted by HUD to manage the HUD sales process in 18 of our states. Several areas. We are in the Atlanta region. Our class objectives, we have an intro to HUD. We're going to explain how to show and advertise HUD. Bidding procedures. We have an e-signature process that is awesome and amazing. You no longer have to handwrite contracts and overnight them to Atlanta. We're going to talk about your contract package and how to verify one, and some procedures for under contract properties and closings. All right, the first part is intro to HUD. Basically, HUD is the ownership center. And then you've got your compliance manager, your field service manager, and your asset manager working under them. So when a property gets assigned to HUD as a result of a mortgage insurance claim, they go through compliance to make sure it's clean and clear. Everything's good to go and ready to sell. The field service manager is in charge of keeping the property safe and marketable. They make sure the grass is cut. They made sure that every 2 weeks someone goes out and puts their eyes on the property. And then your asset manager is your Sage Acquisitions, who assigns the properties to our local listing brokers to sell. Okay. So here's your flow chart. Basically, someone initiates an FHA claim. It means they did not pay their FHA mortgage. So then the mortgage company will say, hello, HUD, please pay us off, which they get the property. They ensure that it's marketable. If there's any issues, it goes back. Then again, the field service manager, like I said, cleans it out, makes sure it's ready to go, safe, secure, marketable. Any issues, it goes back. And then once it goes through all of these steps, it comes to us, where the asset manager Sage ensures and makes sure it's marketable. And if not, goes back. So it goes through all of these 1, 2, 3, 4 steps before it comes to us. So in all, if everything's working properly, these properties should be free and clear, no title issues, and no issues that prevent financing. And if they do have issues that prevent financing, they are marked so. Anything you want to add, Miss Kathy?
No.
All right, very good. So our compliance manager for this area performs a variety of services. They make sure that it's a marketable title, most of all. And the field service manager, one per state, provides maintenance, inspects the property, secures the property. They perform any enhancements or repairs. They will only do safe and marketable repairs. And they provide ongoing maintenance in case anything happens. Let's say your fence blows down, they come and put it back up. Asset manager, they ensure it is competitively valued by sending out an appraiser. They make sure our sales achieve highest net return, minimize holding time. They handle the closing and accounting of funds, and they make sure we have customer service and satisfaction. All right, 1 second. Go ahead, Kathy. I've got Darren calling in. I think he's trying to access.
Okay, I can take over. So, oh, except I don't have control of the slides. Okay.
Just one second, go ahead. All right, so next, the property flip chart.
Okay. HUD or Sage contracts local listing brokers to provide full listing services on HUD homes. Our responsibilities are to list on the MLS, the most appropriate and mainstream MLS for the area, put a sign in the yard, provide routine inspections and reports, handle customer service and informational resource on HUD listings and the HUD sales process, provide a wide market of exposure of the HUD sales process and the properties, and deliver the earnest money check to the closing agent upon contract execution. HUD selling agents play a critical role in the success of the HUD sales program. Keep your eyes and ears open. Sage wants to hear from you. Everybody must be registered in order to place a bid. Any licensed real estate agent can sell HUD homes. Brokerages are the ones that are registered, and agents can sell underneath their broker. So to become registered, your principal broker will need to complete the registration package. It is quite detailed, and that has to be sent to the Regional Homeownership Center. Accuracy is extremely important. It requires a lot of different reports. The process usually takes 6 to 8 weeks, and then you must renew annually. You must also remind yourself to renew annually because they don't normally do that for you. And you could be wanting to place a bid on something and then not being registered, and it's a problem. So expectations for agents, they would like quality in all work and all aspects of working with HUD in the process. They request professionalism when interacting with the buying public, other selling agents, and everyone in every aspect involved in the HUD selling process. Communication with not only buyers and those involved with your transaction, but also with the Sage team to express concerns or suggestions or ideas that become evident to you as you work in the field and become involved in the HUD selling. Motivation to make the sales and move HUD properties. Teamwork as a real estate community, and with Sage to work toward the continued betterment of the Georgia HUD sales process and ensure that the HUD process is operating as smoothly as possible.
Thank you, Kathy. And looks like Darren got in, so we're all good. What is a HUD home? It is not low-end housing. When people see HUD, it is our job to inform them, even you as the selling agent, to tell them a HUD home is nothing but a single-family residence that's acquired as a result on a foreclosure on an FHA mortgage. That's it. I've gotten $400,000 ones in Lakewood Ranch in perfect condition. Have I gotten ones that are special? Yes. I mean,
Challenging.
Challenging, yes. What do we call those in bold? Interesting. Anyway, yeah, so it can be anything. It just means they had an FHA loan, they couldn't pay it, anything could have happened, and HUD ended up with the property. You know, sometimes people walk away from a property and they just couldn't make their payment. It's in perfect condition. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, great area. And sometimes people can't pay their mortgage, and well, they can't take care of the house either. So you get what you get. It's just like any part of real estate. They vary in price, location, and condition. As is means as is. They will only repair to make it safe, secure, and marketable. If there's a safety issue, if there's a security issue, if there's a marketability issue, they will take care of it. They will not fix anything else. You do not go do your inspections and tell HUD, hey, here are 15 inspection repairs to do. That is not going to happen. Okay. Who can buy a HUD home? Anybody. Anybody can. You fall into categories: owner occupants, investors, government agencies. Of course, the government agencies and owner occupants get first bid. Investors have to wait until they get past the period where they give preference to the other people. Owner occupants are given priority during certain cycles. Owner occupants must occupy for the house for 1 year and sign a 12-month statement under penalty of perjury stating this will be their primary residence for 12 months. And once they do that, they can't buy another one for 2 years after because they're getting special priority. Investors, if you wait till it gets to the investor period, you can buy as many as you like and not worry about it. HUD special programs. There's a few programs they offer. Good Neighbor Next Door, a lot of people ask about. It's basically if you are in certain areas, you can buy the house for half the price. If you choose to live there for 3 years, it's 50% off the list price, 100 down payment. The catch is it must be located in a designated revitalization area, and you must live there for at least 36 months. And there's a couple of other criteria. I've never done this only because there's very few revitalization areas nearby. There's a couple like way downtown St. Pete and Tampa, and I just haven't really seen any. Have you, Kathy?
I've done one in Michigan and it was awesome. A firefighter purchased a home in a really nice area, which I wasn't even sure why it was a revitalization area because it was a popular neighborhood. But in any event, it was offered and he bought it and he got a great deal.
Yeah, so if you find any in the revitalization areas and you want to live there for 36 months, is it for teachers, firemen, the Good Neighbor Next Door? It says here, firefighters, EMTs,
Police.
right? So only thing about it is they do not pay the commissions. The buyer has to pay the commission, but hello, they're getting a house for half price. So if you find any of those, that's one of their incentives. The one I advertise most of the time is the $100 down. It's in the Atlanta and Philadelphia homeowner center areas. My buyers love this. So let's say you have a $300,000 house, 3.5%, do the math, you're over 10 grand down. With this, if you buy an FHA foreclosure, you use an FHA loan, you live in the house, you pay $100 down. They will even pay 3% of your closing costs. I've had people get in for less than $1,000 out of pocket. It's amazing. Okay. So here's some websites. I will flip to some of these websites in a few. We'll go back and forth. Sometimes screen sharing on those is interesting, but there's the HUD.gov. It's HUD information. The HUD Home Store is where you find the HUD listings. Sage ACQ is where I get quite a bit of the paperwork for this. So we'll go through those sites in just a few. Bidding on HUD homes is the next part. So just so you're aware, they call it bidding. It is not an auction. Nobody's going to bid back against you. It is just a sealed bid. It is an offer. If anyone asks, not an auction. Okay. You make your highest and best offer, just like any other property in this market. To get in there to make your offer, you need to create a bidder account. It is easy and free. You just register. It says at the top right corner, see the little button says register. So this is HUDHomestore.com. HUD Home Store is the only place you will see HUD homes. You will not see them anywhere else except for the MLS, but that's just there for advertising. So a little tidbit, if you see a property that's a HUD home on the MLS, please go to the HUD Home Store and make sure it is still there. Today's market moving so fast, sometimes it's still on the MLS and it could have been taken off the site that morning. So make sure before you show it that it's still on the site. If it is not on the HUD Home Store, you cannot make an offer and it is not available even if it's on the MLS. Let me see if we can go to the HUD Home Store. You guys let me know if you see it. Go to the website. So I need to do my screen share. I was able to do this yesterday. Okay, let's see, new share and go to HUD Home Store. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, maybe not. All right, I'm going to do screen share to the HUD Home Store and hopefully that works. Oh, I think we go here. Okay. Can you see the HUD Home Store now? Just to say HUD.gov.
Yes.
Okay, good. So a couple of things about the HUD Home Store. This is where you find your properties. This is where you register. If you've never been on here, you need to click register and you need to click register as a bidder. When you go to do that, it'll ask you, the first thing it'll ask you is your NAID. That is something your broker has. Those of you that are in our office, our NAID is MCHGGS 1640. CHGGS 1640. Yeah, so that's the NAID for our office. Okay, for other people, you need to not use the NAID. That is just for our office. It identifies us, and you wouldn't be able to register under that. So you need to get it from your broker. They should be registered. They should have their own ID. Okay, and then you go put in your username, you answer some security questions, and bam, you have an account, and you can go ahead and place offers. When you go on the home screen, this is where you search for properties. I like to just put in the state of Florida and hit search and see. Today we have 12 listings in the whole state of Florida. I like to hit view map, and when I do that, I can expand it and see the whole map, and I can just kind of see which ones are nearest us. As you can see, there's not much near us right this second, but it changes daily. One thing you can do is once you are registered and logged in, you can do your searches, and you'll pop up with this thing that says recent searches. And you can actually save a search, which is a good thing to do. So let's say you're really interested in keeping an eye on the HUD properties in Manatee County, Sarasota County, Charlotte County, whatever. You would just make a search for Florida and put in your county, and then it'll tell you which ones are in your county, and it could be 0 at the point. So if I go Sarasota, look, nothing there right now, but it'll show up on my recent searches, and I can save it, and it will email me the moment one is listed in my county. Okay. When you do find your HUD houses, I wanted to point out a couple of things since we're on the site. You're going to have different information available when you pull up your properties. I'm going to find the nearest one. Let's see. North of Tampa, Brooksville, fun place. So you can see this is a 3-2, 1,500 square feet for 128, actually a really good price. Here's your lot size. Revitalization area, no. So look at all your information. List price, FHA financing, i.e. insured escrow. We'll go over what that means, but there's your financing code. This tells you if it's 203K eligible. This will give you the info on who's listing it. Big important thing, addendums. You get a property condition report, which kind of shows you the condition of the property. You can look through it. It gets a little report. They send someone out there and they tell you, did the electric come on? Did the water hold pressure? Things like that. Important. There's a property listing disclosure that tells you what the appraiser felt should be disclosed. Did they see termites? Is it in the flood zone? Lots of important information. It also shows you bid submission time remaining. This is telling me that they're going to look at bids tonight. So if you put in an offer today, you will get an answer tomorrow. This right here is your listing period. If you are an exclusive, then only owner, occupants, and nonprofits can bid. But once it gets to the extended, investors can bid as well. So lots of important info here. It tells you the end of the period. So you can see that the investors are good to bid until July 25th, at which point they'll change something. To submit an offer, all you do is you click here, you submit an offer, and it'll ask you your NAID type, and it'll ask you your license, make sure you're not a robot, and then you're allowed to put in your offer. Kathy, is there anything else I should show them on this website?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's all your property info. This is how you find them. This is where they are. This is how you make your bids. Once you start your bid, see this nasty little message that says you have
Yeah.
to complete. If your people take their sweet time giving you the info while you have them on the phone, plugging it in, because you're going to be submitting their social. See what it says? That you need your email address, social security, you need your EIN, all that. If you don't have all that ready and you take too long, the stinking thing will log you out and you have to start all over again. Okay. All right. I think that's it for now on that site. While I'm here, I can show you Sage ACQ. This is Sage's website. Can you guys see Sage now?
Yes.
This is where you get your forms. If you need any forms, we are the Atlanta region, as I said. You just kind of can click here and you go down. And this is if you ever need random other forms. Let's say your buyer decides to change their closing agent, which is title company, your form's here. If you choose to switch to a rehab loan because you found too many issues, your form's here. If you need an extension, this is important, your extension request form is here. You're not ever going to use regular forms, regular contract, regular extension forms from the MLS. You're going to only use their forms. If you go to one of these properties and you see any vandalism, the windows are broken, this is where you report and you can turn it in. Amendments are here, add or remove a purchaser. Let's say your people decide they need a non-occupant borrower because they need more money, or you need to change financing from FHA to another. It's right here. The very last important thing, this is your utility activation place. You're going to click, we're in 8A. So we're going to click Strategic Alliance Management. So let's say you're lucky enough to get one of these lovely properties and your people want to do their inspections. HUD is not allowed to keep utilities on. They don't have a budget for paying for utilities. So your buyer will click this form to request to turn on utilities. So those are our two forms so far that I wanted to show you. And let me go back to the slides. So here we are. Are we back on the slides? Can you guys see?
No, not yet.
Go back to, here we go. I always have to ask because it's touchy. There we go. We're good,
There
right?
we go.
Okay, all right. Finding your properties. So we kind of just went through that. You'll go there, you go to HUD Home Store. You're going to find your properties for sale. These are your little codes you're going to see. IN means insurable. It has nothing to do with hazard insurance. It means it's insurable through FHA. If you see a property that has an IN code, it means they sent an appraiser out and the appraiser said this property is good to go. It needs no repairs to qualify for an FHA loan. UI means uninsurable and the property needs more than 10,000 in repairs and they think it's going to only go cash or conventional or rehab. HOA lets you know there's an HOA. F is for flood zone. You got lead-based paint. Your codes are right here. So if it was built before 1978, you will see that. If you're using FHA financing, they will give you a lead-based paint report. And if they find any lead-based paint, they will spend up to $4,000 to fix that issue. That is the benefit of using FHA financing. Also, if they see any evidence of WDOs, wood destroying organisms, they will get you a free inspection and make sure that it does not have any active termites or anything.
Only for owner occupants, not investors.
Correct. Yes. This is for FHA only. You do not get these benefits if you're not using FHA. All right. Get familiar with FHA. Financing codes. Insurable meets 203B financing requires no obvious repairs. IE is what I usually see. It means the property is eligible for FHA financing and it has repairs less than 10,000 to bring it into compliance with FHA. So this is where the cool thing comes in. Make sure you have a lender that knows how to do this. Basically, you can borrow up to 10,000. You do not make repairs to a property you don't own. So the repairs will be done after you purchase, immediately after you purchase. But let's say you have a leaky roof, a non-working air conditioning, some unsafe flooring where it's coming up. Most of the time you can't use FHA on houses like this. So a cool thing with HUD is you can get houses like that and you just set up a little escrow and say, okay, within 30 days of purchasing it, I'm going to fix the leaky plumbing, I'm going to fix the leaky roof, I'm going to fix the flooring. Here's the money, it's set aside and you can still get your FHA loan. It is not a gift, it is extra money you borrow. So for example, if your house is 200,000, you add 10,000, you're gonna borrow 210, 200 goes to HUD, 10 goes into a little account, and it will be made available to your contractor once they finish the repairs and the repairs are inspected, then the escrow will be released. So make sure whichever contractor you're using knows that they will not be paid ahead of time, they will be paid after they're done. All right, so again, that was just what I said, repair escrow, not a gift, added to the mortgage, price remains the same. You make a list of the required repairs and your lender is responsible for making sure it's done. You have a licensed contractor and determining the repair bids and amounts. All right, bidding periods. Properties will list daily. You will see them all the time. Yesterday, we only had 8. Today, we have 12. So that means we got 4 new ones. They come. Right now, we can only play with properties that were started before last March or properties that don't have people in them. If there's somebody living there and they don't want to be foreclosed due to COVID, they can't be foreclosed right now. So inventory is a little low, but that won't be the case forever. Just check it out daily. The lottery properties are a special period. It means they're kind of in rough shape and they give they give the nonprofits a chance at those. General market is all of them. Sealed bidding. When they first put the properties out, your bids are sealed for a certain amount of days, depending on the bidding period. Like for example, on lottery round, sealed for 7 days. On the 7th day, it'll open up to everyone. General market, which is what we usually deal with, a regular property that is basically in good shape, qualifies for FHA financing, will usually be given in 15 days. The way that works is the first 10 days are sealed bidding. They want everyone in the world to see it for 10 days. And on day 11, they will unseal all bids and they will pick the highest one. I know what I forgot to show you, how to check to see if they picked your bids. I'll show you in just a moment. So let's say on day 11, they have no satisfactory bids or offers, then they will keep doing daily bidding, daily offers until day 15. And then on day 16, they will let the investors in. If it's an uninsured property, meaning it does not qualify for FHA, not even with 10,000 in repairs, then they usually only put it out for 5 days because not a lot of owner occupants pick those up. So all bidders allowed on day 6. I'm gonna switch back real quick to show you how to check for your bids because that's really important. Let me see if I can get back. Okay. On screen, let's see, is it working? Nope. Okay, let's see, share, and here we go, share. Okay, so let's say you're here and you want to see if you won your bid. So you're going to log in. And hopefully this goes in fast. Here I am, I'm logged in. And it's going to flip to this little screen. When you see the screen, it looks like blank, review your bids. What does it mean? You have your bidder functions up here. All you got to do is click search and it'll bring up all of your bids that you've ever done. So you can review them, go through them. I have a whole bunch of pages. So how do you check and see if you won? Because is HUD going to tell you on the 11th day if you won? No, and I constantly have agents on day 11 calling me. No one's told me if my bid was accepted. This is what you do. Your bids are right here and you're going to have codes. On day 11, it's going to change from SB for sealed bid to UR for under review. So if you have an active bid in on the morning of the 11th day, you should see under review. You can log into this every 30 minutes, every hour, depending on how obsessive compulsive you are, every 10 minutes, I don't care, until you see this change. So once you see it change, you can see these are some of my past bids. OBC means other bid under contract. And if you click and hover over it, it literally tells you what it means. AC means it is accepted. The asset manager has accepted your bid. CA means canceled. Your bid was canceled. They will cancel you if you're way too low. They're like, here, get out of here. And so you will see your status change, and that's how you know if your bid was accepted. So if you're keeping an eye on this and you see it change to AC accepted, you know your bid acceptance will be coming within the next hour or two, and you can get excited. And if you see OBC, or usually in the beginning, it'll say other bid chosen or other bid selected, and then it changes to other bid under contract. So if you see that, then you can inform your people, I'm sorry, yours wasn't chosen, another one was. Okay, so that's how you check your bids. Get back to my slides.
I just wait for Sage to tell me that my person got it, because they send out emails.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
I'm just talking about the ones that didn't get it.
okay,
Because I don't know if they do it to you, but I'm constantly like, especially the properties that have like 15 offers, the other 14 agents don't know to go here and check, and they're always like calling me to see if their bid got accepted, because they're not going to get I'm sorry, we're working with another offer email.
right, right.
All right, let's look at HUDHomestore.com. We did that. How to search for properties. We showed you where to find the property condition report. Bid deadlines are in there, and the HUD home bidding process. So they're only sold online, electronic bidding process. It is the only way to buy a HUD home. Please do not send a HUD agent a contract written on a regular contract. They will like just call you and tell you to submit it in the HUD home store. And it happens all the time. So it's a waste of time. You just go in there, and submitting a bid is so easy. It literally takes, what would you say, Kathy, 5-10 minutes, maybe, if you go through it?
And yeah, 10 minutes on the phone.
Yeah, you just call your people. They give you their offer price, the type of financing they want. They let you know if they're asking for closing costs. Do let them know that the closing costs come off the net. So let's say you have a property again listed for 200, and they want to offer full price. If they're going to ask for closing costs, they should probably go above to give them a net of full price. Agent commission, you can change if you want to give your people a competitive advantage. If you've got people that are not quite where they need to be, can you reduce your commission if you really want? All they care about is the net to HUD, and make sure you put in your buyer type. If you miss anything on the page, it will tell you what you're missing and tell you to fix it. The closing cost line, HUD will allow up to 3% of the purchase price. Keep in mind, this works real well for $250,000 to $300,000 properties, because 3% of 300,000 is 9,000, should cover most of your closing costs. Does not work very well for $150,000 properties, because that will only give you 4,500, and that means your people will still have a good 4,000 or 5,000 left. HUD closing costs are a little bit higher than regular, because HUD is exempt from paying their share of closing costs. Okay. All right. They will catch you up on the proration of property taxes. They will cover some condo or HOA transfer fees. They will sometimes cover the cost for condo docs, and they will cover your repair escrow holding fee. Minimum commission. If you see a really, really cheap property, which I haven't in a while, and it's less than what would get you 1,000, they will bump you up to 1,000. Otherwise, the standard 3% applies. Commission levels are set by list price, and once a bid is awarded, you can't change it. Bids can be submitted 24/7. They are not reviewed on holidays or weekends. Bid deadline is 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're crazy enough to want to put one in that time, that is 12:59 our time. There is no preference in bidding. This is what I'm constantly telling buyers who want me to come out there and meet them day one on the market. It does not matter if you put it in on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 10. It's not kindergarten. Doesn't matter who's first. It matters who's highest. If you put an offer on a Friday, you will get your answer on Monday, because HUD will not answer you on Saturdays, Sundays, or holidays. Winning bids are selected automatically by HUD system. $1 higher than another person will be selected by the computer. They do not care what kind of financing it is. So like on a regular sale, FHA buyers are at a disadvantage because on a regular sale, the seller will always pick cash. It's just a sure bet. HUD doesn't care. You can have an FHA offer $1 over a cash offer, and the computer will choose that one. If they receive 2 acceptable bids that are exactly the same, they will randomly select. So if you're gonna just offer a couple bucks above. So that way you can try to win the bid by a couple dollars. The listing broker is copied on all emails and cancellations. Let's say if you don't get your contract signed digitally, or if you don't make your corrections, or let's say you cancel voluntarily because your buyer says, never mind, I don't want it. There is cancellation forms for that and procedures. I showed you how to check your bid results. On the bid deadline there, all offers will be reviewed, accepted, rejected, or countered. I haven't seen a lot of counters lately. If there are no acceptable bids whatsoever, everyone is too low, they will actually send you a counter offer saying this is the minimum acceptable amount HUD will take. And they give you your net, so you have to work backwards. Your net is what they want to have after paying all commissions to agents and all closing costs. So let's say on that $200,000 property, you offered 180 and they counter you back and say our minimum acceptable net is 180. Then you got to figure out, okay, add the commissions and the closing costs on top. What number do I have to be at to arrive at this number? But it's kind of cool. Like what other seller tells you what their minimum is, you know. When they do counter you, it's not like you can accept their counter. They're just giving you their bottom number. You must resubmit the next day. Earnest money. It can only be in certified funds. You see this certified funds only, very, very important. Cannot bring a regular check. Do not bring a regular check. You cannot wire. I've had people get really upset that they couldn't wire it. That's just how they do it. Your deposit, which usually is $1,000, unless your sales price is over $250, then it's $2,000. Your deposit must be made in a cashier's check or money order. And I tell people, make sure your buyers are pulling out the exact amount out of their account to make the money order, because your lender will want to see that withdrawal. In every other transaction, you're going to write a check or wire so they can see the money leaving. When you make a money order, they can't see the money leaving. They can just see the withdrawal. So if your buyer has 500 cash on them and they only withdraw 500 to make the 1,000 check, it's going to confuse your lender. So make sure you give them those instructions. The money goes to the listing broker. So we actually have to hold that check and make sure that you have it, but we're not going to give it to title until your contract is executed. So you have 24 hours to get that cashier's check or money order to the listing agent. Just immediately when your bid's accepted, have your buyer run out and get it and go take it to the listing agent. Anything you want to say on that, Kathy?
No, you want me to take over now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see, we're on to tips. All right, when an agent places a bid on the HUD Home Store, additional information is required that was not previously requested. Make sure all the information is accurate to avoid delays. Read all the instructions and follow up. Read all emails from DocuSign and HUD, Home Store, and Sage Acquisitions for a smooth process. The agent placing the bid must also make sure the e-signature signer information is accurate for who will sign for them as broker. Let's see. Oh, this is so much nicer though than writing up that contract and overnighting the package to HUD. Don't you think?
Yes.
Adding the buyer select closing company. As you type in the buyer select closing company, a drop-down list of closing companies already established with a title ID will appear. I suggest that you use one of those, because if you want to use a new closing company, it's a kind of a lengthy process, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
better to use people that know the process and know the website.
Yeah, they use a portal called P260, and if your title company is not familiar with them, it's a big learning curve, and that is the only way they communicate. And Kathy, does it take like 2 weeks just to get on the site?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. You don't want that holding up your contract. It's not worth it. Even though you love your own title person, don't do it to yourself. Okay, so bid acceptance emails. Agents with bids awarded that are eligible to use the e-signature process will receive 2 emails from do-not-reply@hudhomestore.com. The email selling broker bid acceptance notice and the bid acceptance final verification. Upon receipt, the agent that placed the bid should log back into their account and review, edit, or verify the information submitted. At this time, the agent must also upload the following order for Sage Acquisitions to move forward: a copy of the earnest money check that they have delivered or will deliver to the listing broker's office, proof of funds, or a lender letter if they're getting financing, and the title company updated E&O insurance and license information if that's requested. After the bid is accepted, log into your HUD Home Store account and click on accepted bids. We did that. Once in accepted bids, you're going to click on the checklist on the right. Oh, did you highlight that, or is that highlighted? You must have.
That's highlighted in our slides.
Okay.
So I think they're trying to show you how to verify. Very, very important. This is what I usually walk through with people. Like when you receive a bid, you have to go on this website, the one I was just showing you, and you're going to see things across the top. It'll say accepted bids, and you'll have a little checklist, and you have to verify every little part. Verify your buyer, verify everything.
Keep or edit the purchaser information. This email address is where the e-signature will be emailed. And then keep or edit the closing attorney information. This is where her or his e-signature will be emailed. Conflict of interest, a second chance to confirm there isn't one. Once all the steps are completed and all the information is verified as accurate, you're going to load an image of the earnest money at the bottom of the page and click Save All Changes. Earnest money and proof of funds, or earnest money and a lender letter.
Correct.
Okay,
so just real quick, I'm sorry, I wanted to butt in here for just 1 second. So when you do this verification, you need to make sure all the emails are correct. The emails are where your contract is going to go. The contract is going to go first to you to verify all the info is correct. Then it's going to go to your broker. Then it's going to go to your buyers, and then it's going to go to title, and then it's going to go back to Sage. If any parts of this are held up in the process, you will get a nasty little email saying you have till the end of the day to finish your contract. So make sure everybody's paying attention. When you're finishing this, you're going to upload your proof of funds, you're going to upload your pre-approval, you're going to upload your little check. That cashier's check, you need to upload the picture here, and then you need to also have us upload the same picture on our site to start the process of e-signatures. You'll know you're done when your status of your checklist changes from pending to verified. Okay. Very important. A lot of the people who are representing buyers forgets to take a picture of the money order before they go bring it to us. And then I have to send them back the picture, because this is where you have to upload a picture of your EMD. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Delivering buyer's loan letter or proof of funds. The actual certified funds EMD check payable to the closing agent company chosen must still be delivered to the listing broker's office within 2 days of bid award. Along with the earnest money, the buyer's agent needs to provide to the listing broker a copy of the buyer's loan letter or proof of cash funds. Without the listing broker confirming the receipt of the valid earnest money check, and without the loan letter or proof of funds, Sage Acquisitions cannot generate the e-signature envelope. So you'll be sitting there waiting for something to happen and nothing ever will. So once they are able to generate the e-signature envelope, the agent who placed the bid on HUD Home Store will receive an email with a DocuSign to review the contract package before signatures are requested. The agent will not sign anything at this time. They are only reviewing the package for accuracy.
Okay, let me just put a little tip in here. When you receive the package to review it, if your buyer wants to use $100 down incentive, the only change you need to make is on the front page of the contract. When you're reviewing it, it will say down payment TBD, to be determined. Sage does not know if your buyer plans to use the $100 down program. So if you do, all you got to do is change that TBD to 100. Very, very important. Otherwise, your lender will require an addendum later on specifying your down payment, and getting addendums from HUD are not quick. Okay.
That's true. Nothing is quick. Approving the contract package for signatures. Once they click on finish and confirm the package is ready for signatures, emails are sent from the DSE@DocuSign.net to the parties needing to sign in the following order: broker, designated signer; buyer, simultaneous if multiple buyers; the closing company agent; and then back to Sage. Once Sage has signed the contract and executed the file, all parties who signed will receive another email with a copy of the fully signed package.
And we don't get it. So if you get your fully signed package, please be nice and send it to us. Okay.
Okay, contract corrections. Okay, so the next thing they do once they get it, they give you 1 business day to return any corrections that need to be made. The contract will be canceled or awarded to the next highest bidder if the contract is returned still containing errors. Yeah, not much time. You need to get on that right away if they ask for something.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of corrections lately. Usually it's something wrong with your pre-approval, like if your pre-approval doesn't have the correct amount, the correct name, if it doesn't match the contract exactly, or
if it doesn't match the name.
Yeah, definitely the name. Sometimes even if it's like a nickname or something. And I've had one correction for the people not giving me the EMD fast enough. I didn't have the EMD, so I couldn't do my part where I uploaded it, and they got a correction saying, hey, Dinnerling, I know you did everything, but please give your EMD to the agent. All right, here you go.
Okay, submitting amendments. Contract corrections, revisions, and amendments can be received via email. You go to Sage ACQ at the Form tab. That would be under Atlanta. They've got amendments for sales contract, add or remove a purchaser, change of financing, contract corrections. These amendments are not valid unless approved in writing by both seller and purchaser. Only Sage is able to modify terms of the contract and process any changes to the contract. Amendment information. When changing financing from a 203K to any other method, since they have given an additional 15 days, now they're going to take that away. So now the contract might become expired due to the reduction, and an extension will need to be filed. So support the extension with evidence of ability to close. So it, oops.
I'm sorry, did I go too fast? Hold on, here you go. Oh my goodness.
So it can be approved. Okay.
Right.
Fees may not be waived. Buyer will be responsible for reimbursing HUD to have completed the termite and the lead-based paint inspection and stabilization. Okay, so changing financing from other cash to any type of FHA. Now the lead-based paint and termite must be ordered, and that takes time. So again, you might find yourself running out of time and needing to file an extension. Changing financing from FHA to non-FHA. Now the cost of the lead-based paint and termite is absorbed by the buyer. Will be included on the settlement at closing to repay the seller. Usually 100 plus and 700 plus. Any treatment or abatement will be added to the cost. So that can be quite an expense that your buyers may or may not be willing to pay. You might
Right. So if you're doing FHA, yeah, if you're doing FHA, if you change to any other financing, they will take away the things they paid for, is basically what they're saying. Does anybody have questions? No? Okay. All right. So Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kathy.
That's okay. That's just stating the same thing about the lead-based paint and the two of, well, and address and name changes, not necessarily quick fix and will not be done the day of closing. Amendment must be filed and signed by Sage for escrow changes. Buyer type changes not always approved based on bidding cycles and if the change is permissible. Amendment information, remember amendments may take up to 72 hours to process, will not happen on the day of closing, and failure to follow the rules may result in a delayed closing. Title amendment changes. Line 9 must accurately reflect the office closing the transaction. See, this takes a lot of time and is problematic for title changes. I would not recommend this at all.
Not recommend this. This is why Kathy was telling you, like, if you have a favorite title company that you just love them and always want to use them, but they've never done HUD before, I would suggest not using them. Because let's say you start out with your title company and they start the process of trying to access P260, takes them forever. Oh, I don't want to learn a whole new system. Go switch to another title. You literally have to refund the entire cashier's check or money order, go recash it, make a new cashier's check money order made out to the new title company when you switch. It's a pain. I've done it. Don't do it. Okay.
Yeah, hideous, hideous.
All right. Under contract properties. Obviously, you're going to get a home inspection period just like anyone else. I will tell you the important part of the 15-day home inspection period is if you cancel due to inspections, HUD will request that you turn in your inspection. They want to document everything. So make sure if you have a buyer who's going to self-inspect, have a contractor inspect, have a buddy inspect, understands that if they cancel due to inspections, they will need some sort of report to turn in. I've had people just do like a quick 4-point, just like pay $100 just to get their deposit back if they had a bad self-inspection, okay? When you go to do your inspections, you must be authorized to have your inspection. You have to ask HUD to have your inspector enter the property and to have your utilities turned on. When you go to inspect, the utility activation form I showed you, it'll ask you what days you want to inspect. So you line all that up and you turn on your utilities for your inspector. When your inspection is done, you're supposed to turn them back off. Talk to us about that later. Termite letters. If you need a WDO letter, if you think there are active termites and your appraiser agrees, they will do a termite inspection and give you a letter. I will tell you most of the time, even when you see obvious activity, they will always say that there's nothing live, because unless they see a live bug, they're going to say there's nothing live. So usually it's just better to get your own inspection. I don't know. What do you think, Kathy?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't rely on them.
Yeah, because they will always say that they see nothing live, and a lot of times you don't. I mean, only time I've seen live swarms is when we were in swarm season. Otherwise, they hide. So, HUD will only fund the treatment and repairs if they find something live. So usually that's on you. Lead-based paint stabilization. If you have a house built before 1978 and you're using FHA financing, you just email, there's a website, it is Atlanta WDO lead-based paint at sajcq.com. It's right there. And you just ask for your lead-based paint report, which they will send it to you. It's long and extensive and costs them like $700 to do. They do like over 100 samples of paint from the entire house. And it's usually a good thing to have. Let's say your appraiser comes out and says, oh my gosh, you have peeling paint. You must take care of it because of lead-based paint. You could give them the report and say, look, they did a test. We don't have any. All right. Under contract vandalism, if you see any vandalism, people love to do weird stuff to vacant properties. I just had one of my properties tagged with little teenagers that came in and drew me lovely pictures of body parts all over my property. You just send an email to atlanta.vandalism@sajcq, and they did within a couple days send some people out who painted over my vandalism and made it look a little better. If it's something like broken stuff, they will come fix it as well. Remember, this is really important. Buyers cannot move in or start repairs prior to closing. Please, please make sure your people understand this. It is very tempting when you know your appraiser is coming and you know it's just a thermostat and all you have to do is put on an $11 thermostat and the AC would work and you wouldn't have to do a request for repairs. You just can't. You can't fix anything. You can't touch anything. No, not until after closing. And yes, they cannot move in and put their stuff in there prior to closing. And have I had people who found their way in through a back door and put their stuff in the closet because they were just so eager to move? Yes. And they will come out and inspect every 2 weeks and get very upset. Don't move in, don't fix stuff. Okay. Pre-closing. A closing agent, which is your title company, will take care of all the pre-closing activities. They need to have everything 7 days prior. They will request that all HOA fees are taken care of, all taxes are brought up. They will make sure that all utilities are paid. This is very, very common that HUD properties will have past due balances for water because HUD does not turn on water. HUD does not activate utilities. However, your water company will charge you a basic fee each month, whether you're on or not, because you are connected to their sewer and you are in their zone. So if HUD has a property that it takes them, let's say, a year to get ready for market and they're being charged $60 a month that whole year, when you go to do your title search, you're going to have a $600-700 water bill that they owe. Sometimes that presents a problem with turning on utilities. If they give you a hard time, please contact Kathy, I, or whoever your agent is, and we will deal with the water company. They tend to give people a hard time with past due balances, and we have to remind them that HUD will pay them at closing. When the water bills come in, your title company should immediately submit those for payment, not put them on the closing statement. Okay. All right, fees requiring payment in advance. There's certain things sometimes you have to pay. The biggest thing I see is when you have an HOA and sometimes you have to pay a fee just to get the estoppel letter. I've had people try to request money from HUD to get the estoppel letter paid. It's better to do it yourself, just FYI. They will reimburse you, I think. Okay, pre-closing activities. The closing agent will handle any and all loan documents. To make sure there are no delays, they must need to have your paperwork in a timely manner. Closings. FHA conventional, all loans get 45 days from beginning to end, with the last 7 days belonging to HUD. Make sure your lender knows they have 38 days to get a complete package to HUD to upload to the portal. To the title company to upload to the portal to HUD within 38 days. Cash closing. You get 30 days. You need to upload 7 days, 5 business days prior. At 203K rehab gets 60. This is what Kathy was talking about earlier, because you get extra days for rehab. If you switch back to a different kind of loan, they're going to not give you your 60 days. They're going to change your closing date to an earlier time. So let's say you were doing a 203K and you're like, never mind, I don't want to deal with this general contractor. I'm going to do cash and do an equity line on my house. You are now gone from 60 days to 30. If you are out of time, you will granted an extension if you request. There is an extension request form where I showed you. Most houses are over 50,000, so you will owe 25 per day. They are granted in 15-day increments, so you will send in a money order for 375. This one is not made out to the title company. This one will be made directly to HUD. If you do not use all 15 days, let's say you only needed 3 or 4 days, the balance of what you don't use will be credited back to you on your closing statement. Extensions must be submitted in the form of certified funds, cashier's check or money order. They want you to do it 5 days prior, although I've done it not 5 days prior. Must include supporting documentation. Very, very important on the supporting documentation. If you need an extension, they're going to have a supporting documentation request where they want you to say why. If it's a lender issue, your lender needs to write a letter on their letterhead stating, we have a lender delay. We did not get our appraisal back in time. Please grant us an extension. It is of no fault to the buyer, okay? If you have a lender delay and it's not your buyer's fault, they will waive the first extension. You get one. Owner occupants will be granted one free extension if there's a delay in financing. If it's an issue with HUD and let's say they're not ready to close because they're clearing things up on their end, like I have one right now still paying a water bill, then you can just write on your extension request, HUD delay, please grant us a free extension, and they will. If you're doing rehab and it's a lender delay, because rehab is so much more extensive, they will give you 2 free extensions on 203K loans. But to get the free one, you must document it properly. You must send in the lender letters, okay? If you're made aware that a purchaser is not going to close, if you're a buyer's agent, you have a HUD contract, your buyer comes up to you and says, I can't close this. Something happened, I lost my job, whatever, you must contact Sage ASAP. Immediately, because if you allow your contract to expire, they will lose their deposit. Under the contract release, you need to put in the cancellation and you need to put in the reason why. If you ever looked at your contract, they have a whole list of reasons for which you can get your deposit back. If you don't get your loan, the lender denies you, they will give you your deposit back. And Kathy, they've never held to the 30-day rule like some of our contracts do, right? I've had people who were denied their loans like way longer into the process and they still gave us their deposit back.
Oh, yeah, they're not in the business of keeping people's money.
Yeah, they won't keep your deposit unless you really did something really dumb. If you didn't get your loan, they'll give it back. If something happened where you can't close, it's a title deposit issue, you will get your deposit back. They will definitely try to get your deposit back no matter what. I don't think I've ever had them keep it, but don't tell them I said that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, they'll give it back to you. You just send it in, you would put atlanta.cancellation@sagecq.com and you will get your deposit back. You also get a walkthrough, just like with anything else. The one thing you will not get are keys. Okay, HUD uses the same set of keys. They have like 4 different keys throughout the nation. So if they give you one of their little keys, you will have access to other HUD properties. So when you close, you must meet your buyer at the property once you are funded and you are the new owner, and you must unlock it for them while they change the locks. I think I skipped ahead on some of these, but basically, okay. So your closing documents need to be 5 business days, a week ahead at the title company so they can upload. And this is just what they do after closing, post-closing. You are now, make sure your people activate their utilities for the day of closing, and make sure you coordinate so they can get access. That means no keys are provided and you will go over there and help them rekey. If you need assistance, here is their customer service. We are Atlanta.customer service. There's their phone number. And I'm open for questions. You can unmute yourself and ask any questions. Peoples, no questions?
Cool. No
I got a
questions.
quick one. I got a quick one. What about loading this stuff into command for our compliance? Do we have to do any of that? Is it just normal like we would do for any other contract?
Yeah, talk to Jason about that. He does all that. We still do need to do supporting documentation on our end. Sorry, this is for people from our office. Obviously, your HUD contracts are going to be very different, and our broker knows that they look very different. They still want you to have certain, like your brokerage disclosures. They still want you to have other things like the trim notice and things signed. So you're going to still upload this into Command, and you're going to upload the additional documents that HUD does not require, but your broker does. Those people from other brokerages, make sure you check with your broker, what additional documents do I need in addition to the ones that HUD uses? Because your broker is going to require you to have specific documents. I've seen some brokerages that use like pinhole disclosures, your brokerage disclosure. So make sure all your documents are uploaded to Command. They will just be approved a different way because they look different. Okay. All right.
Gotcha.
Thank you, guys. See, I told you this is quick and easy and painless. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to contact us. Myself.
Celeste had a question.
Oh, good. Okay, Celeste.
It popped up. I don't know if oh yeah, I just opened it in the chat box.
Oh, okay. I should probably read the chat box.
Okay, so the question is, does a buyer qualify for owner occupancy if they currently own other property that is not yet on the market for sale? If the intention is that they are going to move into this property and make it their primary residence, yes.
Yeah.
So again, they have to sign the things stating that they're going to live in the house for 12 months. Do they have to move in tomorrow? No. But they do have to live in it for 12 months.
Correct. I believe FHA loans allow you 60 days to move into the property because sometimes you have to make a few repairs before you can move in. So, but you do have to sign what's called an owner occupant certification, basically stating under penalty of perjury that you're going to live there for 12 months. So if your intention is to live there, you can definitely.
During the owner occupancy. Mm-hmm.
Another cool thing you can do is if you're the primary purchaser, and you're buying it with an FHA loan, but you do not make enough money to qualify, you can have a non-occupant borrower added and you can put them into the contract and on the loan, and HUD allows for that. So if you need someone added just for income, they're okay with that. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw your question. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. Okay, so I'm going to record this. I have been recording it. I'm going to upload it to YouTube and send you guys links. My email is teamcondon@gmail.com. If you want to email me and request either slides or copies of the video or link to the video. My phone number is 941-243-4771. If anybody has any questions. I don't know if you want to give them your info, Kathy. I always let everyone call me, so.
Okay. Whatever you like.
All right, very good. Your recording will be done. Just email me or call me if you want copies, and any other questions, feel free to call. Thank you. Everybody have a blessed day. Okay?
You too. Bye.
Thanks, Susanna.
Bye-bye. Going to log out and exit. Okay.